What we're going to show today is a really quick overview of how Onshape changes the way that data is stored and accessed, and the way that our infrastructure allows you to both work more quickly with your coworkers, but in the future also collaborate directly with agents in a controlled and streamlined way. So from the very beginning of Onshape, it provides you with the opportunity to eliminate the separation between where you're storing your work and where you're working on it. And that becomes really important when you're talking about streamlined workflows with other colleagues, as well as with agentic AI. Essentially, every other system requires files to be on your computer in order to work on them. And because in Onshape, you're always working directly on the model on Onshape's cloud servers, this enables direct and live collaboration, allowing you to share in users and bring them directly into the same environment as you. So I'm pulling up a second user here on the right side of the screen, and that user is not getting a copy. They're not getting a static representation of that data. They're actually joining me live in this model. And if I did something like delete the top, of course, that data is live for both users. And this represents a step change in the way that you can accelerate products to market, because now we can have overlapping work going on between multiple users. We can have the ability to embed comments and feedback and markups in the live design environment. And this also means that we step away from the world of one person at a time, one edit at a time, and create the opportunity for things to go on in parallel, whether that's you and other users or you and your AI resources. Another critical part of this is that as users are working in the design and potentially making changes, again, a human user or an AI user, we're always tracking every single edit in the history. And this is where the database structure of Onshape really comes into play, because we're not reliant on the user to create that history. We can instead see every single change that's ever occurred. We can easily revert back to any previous point by restoring the design space. And in doing so, this gives you the framework with which to move very quickly, be open to making mistakes and trying new things, knowing that you can always revert back. Additionally, using software-style branching and merging, for instance, we can branch out into a brand new workspace here, right, and create a safe workshop sandbox environment. Again, to be used either by individuals trying out ideas or by agents, where you can put them into a design space, allow them to push changes, and then pull them back into the original design process. So for instance, if I were to come in and change the handle and make some change, I can test that in the context of this branch. So opening it up, again, not affecting the changes that other people are going to see. I can adjust this out 200 milliliters, rebuild that model, understand the scope of my changes, and push those back into the main design space. And this represents a way to handle, no pun intended, the changes, the variance, and the rapidness of the design process without needing to create copies of files, and allowing for that more agile method of design collaboration. The last thing I want to cover today is really important in terms of the approach that Onshape is taking towards our first AI agents, our first MCP servers, in that it's critical that every feature in Onshape in this design studio is actually open source and text-based. So if I show the code here, you'll actually see all of the building blocks that go into this model. It's a open source language called FeatureScript. We publish these features every 3 weeks with the latest updates. Everyone updates automatically. But what this means is that the building blocks are able to you, the user, as well as to your agents, in order to write your own private first-class CAD features. So something that's really been a huge advantage for teams is writing code with AI. And what this approach allows us to do in Onshape is to generate custom features using AI, right, with the approach of text to feature to CAD. Using a feature like a standard bearing feature, where we can look up a product code or we can select certain inputs and generate a standard bearing using a single feature and a set of drop-downs. Repeatable workflows where a user would typically have to input multiple features, multiple steps, but as a company you can standardize all of those internal features, build them into a single feature, distribute it out to your users, and create those repeatable automations to accelerate the design process in the future. So we see a lot of potential in this text to feature to CAD workflow in terms of unlocking speed and automation for teams while still achieving the very controlled, specific design outputs that the team needs.